We went to the Rainbow Treatment Center, and there was a girl sitting off by herself. Her name was Charity. And I went up to talk to her, and when Charity looked at me, I could see that she had so many walls built around her that it was going to take a lot more than I had to bring them down. It was going to take God. Her first comment to me was, "I don't know why you'd want to talk to me. I'm a bad person." And I said, "That's fine. I just want to ask you one question. And the only reason I want to ask you is so I'll know how to pray. All I want to know is if you believe in God." And she told me, "Yes, I believe in God. My grandmother's been preaching at me for years, but I don't want him in my life." And we chatted for a little bit. I found out that she was 19 years old. She had a little boy that was with her mom. She had a sister that was headed down the same path she was in. And finally I asked her, "Why do you think you're such a bad person?" And she told me, she said, "I've been in prison. This is my third treatment center. I've got anger issues." And I said, "Well, why do you think you're such a bad person? What did you do to end up in prison?" And she told me that she had beat up a teacher and put her in a coma. That was 3 years ago, and the teacher is still in a coma. I asked her if she learned anything about her trials and her issues, and she said yes, that she'd found out that she had triggers. And I said, "Well, what did the teacher do to make you so mad?" She told me that the teacher had said something that her mom used to say that was a trigger. And she said she just flew off and started beating the teacher up. I asked her what she had learned, and she said that she had been in anger management classes. She had learned what triggers were. She had learned how to de-escalate her own anger. And I asked her at that point, or I told her at that point, I said, "You know, you're really a pretty smart girl." I said, "A lot of people go through these treatment centers and they don't learn anything. They just keep ending up back in here." I said, "But you now understand what a trigger is. You know what causes the trigger, and once the trigger happens, you know how to take care of it." And she started crying, and she told me that no one had ever told her that she was a good person. She said everybody always told her what was wrong with her, but nobody had ever told her what was good about her. And I explained to her that sometimes God will allow people to go through very difficult times so they can help other people that are going through the same problems. And I told her that there weren't many Apaches that I had met that didn't have anger issues, that were not drug users, that were not alcoholics. I said most of them, it's not when they end up in jail, or if they end up in jail or treatment, it's when. And I told her that she could help people because she had a perspective that we didn't have. She'd understood their culture and their pain, and she could help them. And she started crying, and she grabbed my hand, and she said, "I want God in my life." And we started crying together, and I put my arms around her, and we prayed together. And when we got done praying, I held her, and I said, "Now there's one thing I want you to do for me." And she said, "I already know what that is. You want me to call my grandma?" And I said, "Will you do it?" And as we were leaving, she was on the phone with her grandma. I'm still in contact with Charity, and she's out of the treatment center. She's still alcohol and drug free. She's living with her grandma and going to church. The words I spoke to Charity that day weren't my words. They were God's words. He worked through me. I've been a part of God's work before, but never to the extent that he was using me, and I saw a miracle happen right before my eyes. There are just no words to explain that.